heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselo Miro, you are the source of my joy.
My Papa, the lovely angels, the heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselo Miro, you are the source of my joy.
Papa, they came for me and gave me love. Mama gave me a love and asked for nothing in return. The kind of love that is sweeter than sugar. Gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselo Miro, you are the source of my joy.
My Papa, the lovely angels, the heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselo Miro, you are the source of my joy.
Yeah, Papa, they came for me and gave me love. Mama gave me a love and asked for nothing in return. The kind of love that is sweeter than sugar.
Good evening, guys. My name is Kombi, and welcome to another episode of Dear Parents. Hi, Zainab. So I don't think Zainab is.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Zainab. How are you?
I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. So, guys, today's topic. I see, before I say anything, I do not know what these youths want. I do not know. It's if these you people, our parents don't talk to us. Our parents not now. People are coming again to come and tell me to ask them. So please, parents, this is not from Adekunville, it's from the youth to you people. And they're asking, why do parents force conversations with children? Why are they saying let us talk? Let us talk. Why people forcing conversation with children, parents? It's not from you. It's from the youths. They're asking why parents are forcing conversation with children. So I'm not going to say anything yet. I'm just going to let the ambassador for youths speak on this first, because I need to know what you people want at this point in time. So Zainab.
Well, from what I got from the youth, according to what they actually said, is that, it's not really like, oh, they don't want to talk to the parents. We don't want to have a conversation with parents. Obviously, that's a good thing. Like, it's for you to even like, it's a good thing to, be able to talk to your parents, having that mother, father to child relation, and which other people don't actually have, unfortunately. But there are just some times that, they feel like some conversations are being forced. Why not let me just say it when I feel comfortable saying it? Why do you have to force it out of my mouth? And then it now becomes something like, oh, you're not being disrespectful, disobedient to your parents, just because you're under the pressure of, saying that thing at that particular time. There's just sometimes that, you don't feel like talking, you're not mentally prepared for a certain conversation, and they just want to discuss it. And in the heat of the moment, you just say certain things that you're not supposed to say to your parents, to even an elderly person. So from that point, I can see from that point, and from what people said, that's the only way I can really like say it. It's not really like, oh, you don't want to talk to them, you don't want to have a conversation with them. It's just sometimes some conversations feel forced. And I feel like if with parents, when you're talking to parents or you're talking to someone that you feel comfortable with, you're comfortable to talk to them, I feel like a conversation should not be forced. When it's now forced, that means it's not really like genuine. You don't want to have the conversation with them. And having conversations with parents, someone you're comfortable with, it should be a genuine conversation. It should really be a meaningful, deep conversation with them, not something forced. So yeah, that's my take on it.
So yeah, thank you. So now, thank you for shedding more light. So with everything that you said, I think what I would be able to what I could get was that, okay, let me just say this quickly. So now I'm back to being a youth because yes, Zainab has explained to me. I feel like when you do not have a type of relationship with your child, it is awkward to ask for a conversation, for some particular kinds of conversation. So if you guys do not have that, oh mommy, see what happened vibe, then something happens and you're asking, tell me what happened. The first thing is,
Mm.
when did that start? Like, or you're saying you don't have that, oh, who is your friend? Like you don't know my friends, and I'm not having a conversation and you're like, so who is that your friend? It's weird. So I feel like for parents, when you do not build some certain kind of relationship with your children, it gets to a point
Mm.
where having some type of conversation becomes awkward and it feels totally forced. Like, it's like, okay, now, so there's one, if you remember, there was one episode we discussed, oh, don't follow boys, don't follow girls, when are you bringing us band home? It takes a lot of effort to switch from the hiding my boyfriend to mommy meet my boyfriend. Like, it takes
Mm.
a lot of effort because we've gone from a stage of my mommy must not know, my daddy must not know. And now we've got it to a stage of, okay, now they can know. So even when you get to
Mm.
that they can know stage, you first of all go through your mom. You don't just go to your dad and say, daddy, I have, like, you, so there's like a lot of effort before you, a lot of teamwork, bodybuilding, confidence growing, that okay, today I'm going to mention it. So
Mm.
you don't have that kind of relationship. This scenario I just painted is because at that point it becomes compulsory. You cannot hide it. But there's some conversations that my mother might not know till
Mm.
like she might never even have an idea of some sort of things that
Mm.
has happened to me forever. Like, she might not even have an idea. It's just like she might not just know.
Mm.
It's because to some extent we do not have that kind of conversation. This conversation most time
Mm.
happens between big sisters and big cousins and all that. That's because those ones have already created like a friendly environment. But for parents, most times growing up for
Mm.
us, and this relationship starts from growing up. It does not just start all of a sudden. I think that's what they don't understand. Growing up, you're giving me the I want to talk to you, you're giving me the, oh, don't disturb me, oh, I'm busy, you talk too much. Then all of a sudden you're asking me to talk to you. It's like, it's confusing. So I think if you really want that kind of relationship, you start from a tender age. I do not become an
Mm.
adult and you're asking me to talk to you. When I was going online, I was going on Twitter, and I saw a tweet where the guy said, oh, they're having issues in their family. Their dad was hardly around. Their dad was hardly around. And now he's old. He can't go anywhere again. He's old and retired now. And they say that every time he comes into the parlor, they all stand up, like one by one, they will just leave. And he's the only one there. Do they hate him? No. But they don't have that bond with him. They don't have that relationship with him. So even when they are watching
Mm.
TV and he says, so what's happening? Like, there's this fear
Mm.
to even reply him, like, because the dad that they know, even times when he was around, he was super rigid. It was like, I'm in the parlor, you're sitting in the parlor too, that kind of vibe. So now they grew up with that fear. Now he wants their
Mm.
attention. He wants to talk to them, but they're still scared, even as adults. Like, they're still like, so he's like, he called them. Why the
Mm.
person brought it on Twitter was because Person was asking for advice, like from
Right.
we social media therapists. And person brought it, and person is like, now the father thinks that they do not like him. According to the
Mm.
person said they do their responsibilities as children. But that conversation, that talk to me, is what they do not know how to do. Like they've not been able to figure it out. So this is where it comes from. You don't expect that growing up, they grow up in some certain level with some sort of fear. Then all of a sudden, you just want to now start to play with them, and it's just weird. It's just very weird. So for parents, if you think that this is what you will want at the last times and later in the future, I think you start it now. Like you start now. You start to have some sort of conversations now. That's why, see, it's been a very long time that I mentioned all these big sisters on the street. You cut them from now. Because there's some things that, when I say there's some things that my mother cannot know in this life, there are people that know it already.
Mm.
But my
Mm.
mother, uh, not maybe in the next world, not this one that I've come. You get so like, but I'm serious. But there's some people that have that kind of relationship. There are some people that can legit walk up to their mom and say, "Oh, mom, my boyfriend and I are having issues. He said this. I don't understand. I don't know, but there's some people that can't know. There's some people that with their parents, they've gotten to that kind of level. Like they've gotten to that kind of level, and they'll just say, "Oh, mom, can you imagine? Jide was all this. One day maybe I will get there too with my mother very soon because I don't know. I don't know what to say. But that's the thing. So you start young. You start early enough. You do not just expect that when they've grown to some certain extent, you now start trying to have, oh, let's talk. Or they'll just knock the door of your room and
Mm.
come and say, I hope my mother does not watch this episode today, because there are times that when my mom enters my room, in my mind I'm like, what are you looking for? What? And she's like, gist me now. Let's talk now. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, what are we gisting about? What are we talking about? Please? It's the gist that we give you now. In the middle of the gist, we say that something have happened. It's already, the gist have scattered up and down. So please, I beg you.
Mm.
And she's like, talk to me now. I'm like, Mommy, there's nothing to say. Oh. You just sit down. Let me be pressing my phone and keep it
Mm.
moving. So the thing is, it's a bad thing, kind of, because there's a limit to what you will want to say. At the point where the parents are now trying to get you to have that kind of relationship with them, you've unknowingly built a wall in between the both of you. You've unknowingly filtered the things that you want to say to them, and you cannot just say it. Even there are times that you'll be willing, like there are times that they're the only people you want to talk to, but because of the filtering that you've given yourself and that wall that you've built, you just lock up. And I think that's why all of us have besties, my bestie and all that,
Mm.
because normally your mom should be your bestie, but you don't have that kind of bond, you don't have that kind of relationship. So you just pick one person that is probably your age mate and all that, and just pour out your heart. So if you give yourself good advice sometimes, you give yourself rubbish advice sometimes, but that's the thing. So for parents, really, I think that you should start to grow this bond. I think I'm seeing a lot of it now. Like this, the Gen Z parents are doing better. They open Instagram page for their children. They bring them online. They do all this. Oh, mommy, oh, baby. It's a good thing. So, parents, I think it's something that you should start working on from now. You don't wait till they are now adults. Don't wait till they have big age and they're now saying, "Talk to me." And again, the way people say this, "Talk to me," I didn't want to go to that place, because people now make it seem like it's your right. Talk to me, tell me what is happening. You can talk to, like, the way you're sounding, that it does not sound like I can talk to you. No, like there's no force in the. I'm going to say it in Yoruba. So you're boning, you're probably sad, and just woke up to you. Kilo share. Like, oh, nothing is wrong with. It's nothing. Nothing is always wrong with you. Talk to me. Nothing like 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 even now that you're even trying to now have that conversation, it's some, for lack of better word, it now comes with so much aggression. Like, talk to me. I'm like, no, like it does not work that way. We do not even have that kind of relationship yet. If I now want to talk to you again, like you're now making it a by force thing. Like by force. I don't know. Zainab, please, over to you because before parents will come for me this Sunday.
Okay, so like from what you said, the last statement you made. So I would like to add that it feels their voice feels very judgmental when they're asking you like talk to me. Like I would like to add that it feels judgmental, like sorry about that. Like they're already judging you while they're asking you, how are you, talk to me. And it feels like it just feels very.
So I think Zainab's network is messing her up today. So guys, I really do not know, man. See, it's weird. And the thing is, the fact that
Like if
okay,
I
yeah, she's back. Zainab, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about
Okay.
that.
Yes, okay, so I would wait a few seconds before I continue. So yeah, so that's it. Guys, I wish I knew how to like navigate this thing with parents, cause again, you really blame them? Cause most times these people are out working and all that, so they don't even have time to talk. Like they don't have like the luxury of time to form conversations with us and all that, especially when we're even at that growing stage. They're trying to make ends meet, they're trying to also things out and all that. So the truth is, if we really look at the logistics, the time that they actually want to start having conversations with us are probably when they're retired, probably when they're on leave, probably when they are super less busy and all that. So I would say that for the youth, we should be able to cut them some slack. And for parents too, times when you can do it, probably weekends and all that, like just find a way to create this bond. Find a way to make your children comfortable enough to want to talk to you. Find a way to create this balance that you're the first person that will come to your child's mind when they want to have conversations of different things, like different walks of life, different kind of conversations, not just some certain kind of conversations and all that. So I would say that you try your best to create this bond. You do things in your power to create this bond and all that, and just make the home comfortable. Yes, and make conversations with your children comfortable too. Like Zainab said something about being like they're already judging, is actually the truth, because your tone, the thing is, tone says a lot in every conversation, especially for we that are from the Yoruba part. There's this tone that you already, every of our words has this kind of tone that comes with it, and it's like, so what is wrong with you? Like, I've not even said it, you've already given me the, or maybe something is always wrong, or what exactly it is, or minus even being judgmental. Most times there's this belittling of emotions, of our emotions, that comes with your questions. There's this so what, like, so the way you say it, you've already undermine whatever the situation is. So at that point, it does not even make sense to want to share or want to talk about it. There's this vibe that you already give, like, share, like, what is wrong with you? So at that point, it won't make sense again to want to share whatever is wrong with me and all that. I just want to, like, I just want to, well, nothing is wrong with me. And even when you want to say, oh, nothing, like, the vibe and all that. So aside from being judgmental, there's this there's this way that you belittle every of the emotions that that child is feeling at that particular time. Like, and again, when the child now finally decides to talk to you, most times it ends up in stories that touch, and you're like, eh, that's why. There's food in the kitchen, go and eat, and nothing happened. Or sometimes for the spirit cocoa parents is, God forbid, God, nothing like that will happen to you in Jesus' name. And I'm like, it's happening already. I'm talking to you because I need advice of some sort and all that. So it's just, it's a very, very dicey situation, because we go from a stage of I want to talk to you to a stage of I do not I don't want to talk to you. Then you're not coming off very strong and saying, oh, let me talk to you, let me talk to you, let me talk to you, and all that. So I'm not a parent, so I cannot say that I know how they I cannot say, I cannot define what is going on in their head. I can only define what is going on in my own head, and that's the way I will take it. So that's what I'm just saying. I'm just appealing and advising parents that we should we should just learn how to form conversations early enough, make it comfortable for the children, and things will flow. Really, things will just flow very well. Like, no, like that. Like, their parents that have this cool thing with their children, and it's sweet to watch. It's sweet to experience and all that. It's sweet to experience and all that. Ma, please, Zainab is in the studio. Please add her back to the studio. It's very sweet, like very sweet to experience. It's very sweet to watch, and you just be like, oh, this is so nice. Like, you see children, like, even with their fathers, like some of them even have this sweet bond with their father. Like, you will see videos of fathers crying during their child's engagement, like their child is getting married. You see, like, fathers really wailing, like they're crying and all that. So for that to happen, you know that there's a kind of bond that they built that is top notch. Like, it's just amazing and all that. So there's some parents that do not have that bond. I just feel that it's something that we could inculcate in raising children. It will make things better. It will make life a better place. I'm serious, because if your child can talk to you at home, you don't need all these big aunties and big uncles outside that would corrupt them and just scatter everything for them and all that. So yes. And if you're just joining, this is Their Parents, a show brought to you by Podium International TV. Where would you find Podium International TV? You head straight to YouTube at Podium International TV. You like, you subscribe, and you drop your comments. And yes, we're also using this opportunity to appeal and ask that if you would like to be a guest on our show, if you would like to be a guest on the show, send us a message on Instagram at Podium International on Instagram, or on Twitter at Dear Parents. If you would like to be a guest on the show, that's parent guest or youth guest, send us a message on Instagram and on Twitter. On Instagram at Podium International, and on Twitter at Dear Parents. Then if you have questions that you would like to ask, send us your letters and we would definitely deliver the letters to your parents and all that is so. And today's topic, like I said, is why do parents force conversations with children? Why do parents force conversations with children? So, Ma, Zainab is in the studio. Please add her to the studio. She has a lot to say. Okay, yes. Welcome back, Zainab.
Hi, sorry for the interruption.
It's fine. It's network. We understand. So, yes, you were saying something
So
before.
I was saying something before I was caught up. I was saying that, yeah, I was saying, you made a statement, and I was saying that when the parents are asking, like, what's going on with you, I want you to talk to me, it feels, like I said, it feels judgmental, which I heard you talking about, oh, the judgmental stuff, and I wanted to add that it feels like you're already discouraged even from the beginning when they're asking you, talk to me. The tone is just very discouraging. And so I wanted to say that you said something about, oh, it's very bad, when you have to force conversations between a parent and a child, their child. So I wanted to add that it's a very sad thing if a child has to say it with their mouth, that, or think it, that, oh, this conversation feels forced, like I'm having a forceful conversation which I don't want to be in. And people might think that, oh, we made up this topic. It was actually a child, not a child, an adult, but obviously the person is still a child regardless. It was actually someone that sent us this topic, and I was shocked when I got the topic. I was like, why would you have like, because when something is forceful, like, you just don't want to be in that environment. You don't want to be, you know, in the environment where that thing is happening, or where the discussion is being held. So I just feel like it's a very sad thing, as good as it's also like, or is it as far as it's also a bad thing. It's very, very sad. Like, I feel like parents, yeah, I don't want this to come across like, oh, maybe I'm hating on parents, or maybe I'm trying to pull out you know the 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 ways that they've been doing their thing. Like, nobody's saying, no, the way you do this is wrong, the way you do that is wrong, but I just feel like this is somebody's child, and there are tons of children that feel exactly the same way, that feel like they're having forced conversation. And it's very sad to have a child, or to have like someone say that, oh, I feel like I'm having a forceful conversation with my parents. Like, it's just a very sad thing. Like, I can't even imagine being that. I don't even want to be there. I don't even want to have that discussion. I would rather just turn it off. Like, let's just not have that discussion when something is being forced. Like, I don't want to talk about it at that point or something. And I don't also want us to forget that there are actually children, as far as I support, like, oh, youth, some things that they say and everything. It's not everything you say that is actually correct, or we also should be corrected in some ways, some things that we do. So there are also like youth that, you know, they the exact opposite of what we actually said. The parents never did anything. The parents was always, close to them and all. But because of the way, Yoruba used to say this thing that, um I don't really know how to put in Yoruba, but the parents would have taught you, trained you at home. You are the one that refused to accept the training. So they might actually have actually trained you. Okay, training is by the side, but they might have been like, they might have done everything to be close to you, to talk to you, but the child is just distant because of one thing or the other, because of people outside, or what people outside are saying to the child. And when the parents are trying to have the conversation, or even when they're young, trying to have that close conversation, it might not just work, and they might not just want to listen. For example, okay, this is very sensitive, so I would try to put it in a more understandable and comfortable way. So let's say a child that, he or she has had a very good relationship with the parents from right from young. Like, they've had like this close relationship, like, this is my mom, this is my dad, I talk to them and everything. And all of a sudden, God forbid, a family member, or like, if let's say an uncle raped the child, and the child, even no matter how close he or she is to the parents, the child might not want to, voice out at that moment, to say to the parent that, oh, this was what happened to me, and in fact, it was your brother that did, or your sister that did this to me. Do you get? So like the child might not want to open up at that point, and the parents might have noticed something. They might have noticed something in that child, and they're trying to, talk to him or her, like what's going on with you, what happened, or maybe let's say that the child has grown, from that situation. Maybe the child is like already 18, 19, they're still having conversation, but they're still finding it hard to be close to the child. And one day the question just pops up again that, oh, I noticed this thing, what's going on? And the child opens up, and then they're all defensive, like, oh, it can never be my brother, it can never be my sister. Can it, like, that kind of situation? Obviously the child will grow up hating, has even already grown up, like hating the mother or the father for that statement. Like, why would you make that kind of statement? Am I not your child too? Am I not close to you? That kind of thing. So growing up, like moving forward in the future, there is no way that child can ever be close to the mother or the father in that kind of scenario. So when they're having like conversations, it's not like it's being forced. I don't want to talk about anything. If I don't want to talk about anything with you at that moment, but then they don't know what they have done. They don't know how they've hurt the child. So it's a sad story, but obviously the parents they've tried to be close to the child. They tried to have a comfortable conversation with the child, but because of the situation that was that was around the child, it kind of changed. And there's so many stories like that. And there are just some children that just like way out of line, They just don't even want to be, it's not the parents' fault, it's just the child that is not really like opening up. So as much as we have like good children, like children that want to be close to their parent, but because of sex, there are also children, youth that they're just way out of line. That even me, when I see sometimes as a youth, I'm just like, there are actually people like this in this world. Like, I don't know how the parents are coping. So yeah, as long as we want to talk about it all day, I just feel like we cannot abandon. We can't also put out this the other side of other youths that just like they are very troublesome to the parents. So I think that's all I have to say about it. It's a very sad thing that actually, if a child has to think it in their head and also say it out, that I feel like I'm having a forceful conversation with my parents, which I don't want to be in that, in that scenario whatsoever. Like, it's just a very sad thing. And everything. Okay, so I wanted to add one thing before I end up my talk, because I feel like I've been talking for too much.
Oh,
so
no,
you
please.
said something. Okay, you said something about the day of the wedding, when the child is not getting married, the parents are not crying, and also like the boyfriend aspect, like when you grew up from that phase where you had to hide like you having boyfriend from your parents, and then that phase where you can now like open up to your parent that, oh, I have, even the opening up self, you have to like, and you also said something like, oh, you have to go through the mom before they can get to the dad about the boyfriend who's fiancé situation, which is true. Like, unfortunately, it's true. What you just said, it's like you've lived in it. It feels like it, because my sister was actually, was in that situation. I noticed that even before she could tell my dad about, someone that she was dating, she had to tell my mom. She had to go through my mom, and then for my mom was the one that now told me. Like, it was just a whole. I'm like, this is so like stressful. This is so like, this is just stressful. Like, why do I have to do like why does she have to do this? This is just, even when they're having a conversation, sometimes just like shying away from me, and like I just don't even want to be there. So like, yeah, everything that you said so far, like, it's very true. It's very, very true, and it's just very sad to me. And I just wish something could be done about it. Like you said, parents should try to do certain things, follow what you said, not like follow you, but some things that you said. So yeah, basically that's all I have to say about it. And I just, children that are in that situation, children that are in that situation, I pray that you're good, and the friend that you ask for advice, if you cannot go to your friend, the people that you feel comfortable ask for advice, they give you good advice, because not everybody on the street that has three sisters, three mothers that give them like good advice. We've said this so many times on this show. So over to my host.
Yeah, so you said something and you were like, You said that's the story you painted about them not believing that their brother can do that kind of thing. That's when I don't know if you heard me when I said even when you now finally open up to them, they belittle your emotions. Like they belittle every feeling that so you know that something that's happened to you, you've taken it like it's
Yes.
big to you, it's big. Then you now decide to finally share and you're like, so that's what happened. And you're wondering how. Like this thing is serious. This thing has probably given me sleepless nights. And you now finally make like we now finally have this conversation and you're like and sometimes it just forfeits the point of saying it in the first place. Because in the end, they're like, so why did I say it? Like, why did we have this conversation? Like, what's the point and all that? So, really, parents, I always say that we didn't come with manuals, obviously. You guys are doing a good job. Parents, you're doing an amazing job. All we're just asking is that you please listen to us sometime and we would like so that things can go on well. And for the children that refuse to talk to their parents, your situation is an Enilori Onifila situation. The person that has head does not have cap, and the person that has cap does not have head. Our parents are priceless jewels. They are very priceless. And when you now have a good parent, when you have good parents and you do not appreciate them, it's on you. It's on you. So youth, regardless of whoever your parent is, sells pepper, sells meat, is an illiterate. It's still your parents, regardless. We can never be too woke for our parents. So they don't want to have this conversation. They don't want to do that. You cannot be too woke for your parents. And there is nothing that should make you disrespect your parents. Nothing. Okay, they are forcing you to have conversation and you think the next thing to do is shout. No, it's we do not do that on this show. It's not from here. It's not from here. There's always a way. There's always a way to escape having conversation with your parents. Ask Zainab. Zainab knows the way. She's very good. Ask her. She will give you the how to escape conversation 101 without being rude. So there's always a way. There is always a way. So guys, we would like to be here for as in for the rest of the day to have this conversation. But the truth is, there's always an end for every show. And guys, we will see you next week. And like I said before, if you would like to be a guest on our show, just send us a message on Twitter at their parents. Send us a message on Twitter at their parents that you would like to be a guest on our show because you know that Zainab and I do not have all the knowledge in the world. We are like there are people out there that have more understanding and have experienced this African parents thing like never before. And parents, if you would like to be a guest, see, you're also welcome though because these youths are always giving a lot of buzzwords. Come and defend your generation. Come and let them know that our parents yes, but we get it and all that. So if you would like to be a guest on our show, please send us a message on Twitter at Dear Parents, or you can send us a message or a DM on Instagram at Podium International. We'll be expecting your message. And if you have a letter to send to your parents, but wait, okay, I was going to say that parents should send letters. Say, what do you think? We should actually give parents the chance to actually ask these children questions. Because I think it will be another ball game if parents actually come and start replying these questions back to back. But for now,
That's a very
youth,
good idea.
if you have questions to ask, please send your questions on Twitter at Dear Parents on Twitter and on Instagram at Podium International. And parents, if you also have questions to ask, we can help you ask the youth because they think they're the only ones that have complaints. I'm sure that when parents start, they will come with sledgehammer to scatter the table. So guys, see you guys next week Sunday I remain Babalola Adekombi and my amazing host, Zainab Yunisa. Have an amazing week. Bye.
Mama, Papa, the lovely angels the heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselomiro, you are the source of my joy.
Mama, Papa, the lovely angels the heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselomiro, you are the source of my joy.
Ah, shining out, Papa need to be. They came for me and gave me love. Mama gave me a love and asked for nothing in return. The kind of love that is sweeter than sugar.
La 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 la, sweetest, modest love. La 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 la, sweetest, modest love. La 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 la, sweetest, modest love.
Mama, Papa, the lovely angels the heavens gave to me.
Yeah, Papa, Coselomiro, you are the source of my joy.
Mama, Papa, the lovely angels the heavens gave to